This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. The 3 level 9 mystic swords formed the power of 3 talents and enveloped Yu's sword light, but they couldn't block the sword that used all of his strength. They were forced to retreat, and their power was greatly reduced. A huge force instantly bounced back into Yunxiao's body, and blood mist burst out of his golden body as it kept collapsing. Are we going to die? As soon as the thought flashed through Yunxiao's mind, he immediately waved it away and roared, "There are people who can kill me, but it won't be you." He formed a seal with his hands, and the 3 northern heaven cold star swords in the air suddenly condensed into a ray of sword light. When this move was executed, his entire body began to tremble violently, and the golden light on his body continued to fade. That's the crazy pie show. You're dead for sure this time. The demonic dragon said in fear. Shut up. Damn it. Yunxiao roared angrily. If I lose today to save my life, how can I return to my peak with my martial intent in the future? The 2 powerhouses are fighting, and the one who is braver wins. Now, it's not a competition of strength, but of determination. His soul spirit trembled and a starlight soul body appeared. It was the body of the demonic dragon, and his face was filled with fear. You're prepared to die, but that's still enough to defeat me. My resolution is that even if I die, I won't be defeated. Break. Yunxiao cried out. The 3 swords in front of him merged into one, and an unprecedented sword intent spread out. Time seemed to stop at that moment, and even the sword momentum of the rain froze. Sword/stars. With a light shout, the sword chi was like a fleeting swan, but it was unforgettable. Everyone's eyes were filled with fear. Even in the eyes of Cui Bo and the others, this level of power was not enough to hurt them, but the supreme sword intent was pointing to the peak of martial arts, like a king descending from the heavens. Sheng's pupils also suddenly opened. The Haotian sword chi in his eyes was suddenly annihilated, turning into cosmic dust along with his life, without a trace. He slowly closed his eyes and said in a deep voice, "As long as I am the demon emperor, the demon race will no longer have a high priest." When he opened his eyes again, his eyes were filled with determination. His hands danced in the air, and several golden seals were sent into the Jushi wheel. The entire array changed, and the pressure gradually spread out and began to gather in the Jushi wheel. Li recovered from the grief and said in shock, "Lord Sheng, you're..." Other than determination, Shang's eyes were also filled with rage. "I'm going to make these people die with you. Also, I don't need this." Jushi wheel, the supreme treasure of the demon race. The Jushi wheel trembled violently in the air, shaking from the impact of the power that was gathering towards it. Shang was actually going to abandon the Jushi wheel completely and annihilate everyone below. Li pursed his lips and wanted to say something, but he held back. At this moment, the array was showing signs of collapse. After the shocking sword attack disappeared, Yunxiao's power was completely gone, and his imperishable golden body collapsed as well, falling from the sky. Young Master Yun, Ding Ling and the others couldn't hold it in any longer, and they rushed out as if they were flying. The formation's suppressive power had been sucked away by Sheng, and Xiangzi's dragon's might did not seem as strong as before. His extremely shocked dragon eyes stared fixedly at the demonic dragon, revealing a look of disbelief. The demonic dragon flew down and caught Yunxiao, then pointed a finger at his forehead. The heavenly eye bloomed under the dazzling light, and the dragon performed an incantation gesture with one hand to slowly pull out the divine realm tablet from his body. He and Yunxiao's souls were one, and he had a great sense of the divine realm tablet. "All of you, come in. Those demons are going to detonate the entire formation." The demonic dragon roared and threw several incantation gestures at the divine realm tablet. He could only sense it, but he could not control it as he pleased like Yunxiao. "Ing Luo, who are you?" Mo Xiaochuan was taken aback. He stared at the demonic dragon in a daze and found it familiar. "There's no time, quickly take him in to find Yuan Gaohan and see if he can still be saved. Yunxiao and I share life and death. Look at my body, it's about to die." the demonic dragon shouted in a hurry. Mo Xiaochuan was taken aback. Although the demonic dragon was a soul, it was indeed getting fainter and fainter at the moment. Could it be a sign of Yunxiao's death? He did not dare to hesitate any longer. He hurriedly picked up Yunxiao and rushed into the Divine Realm tablet. Ding Ling and the others did not want to fall behind and went in one by one. Even the calabash little King Kong, whose arms had been shattered by the rain, had recovered more than half of its strength. It ran over and rushed in under the call of the demonic dragon. I'm not seeing things, right? What was going on? The jade tablet can suck people in? Inside the wizardry barrier, everyone was dumbfounded. Min Qingxiang's mouth was wide open in shock. Isn't it only possible for the super-grade Xian artifact, Roya's boat? Could that jade tablet be the boat of Ruoya? Chui Bo smiled wryly. He can't be judged with common sense anymore. Look at this demonized soul. Is it Yunxiao's second soul? In this world, only our sex elder Yuan Bo's ice spirit can cultivate a second soul. After everyone rushed into the Divine Realm tablet, the demonic dragon roared and forcibly merged the tablet into its soul. Then, it transformed into a dragon and rushed into the space crack in the sky. What? He wanted to rush into the spatial crack. Isn't this just looking for death? Everyone in the Merchant Union was shocked. Even a martial Emperor realm expert would not dare to risk his life in the space crack, for he could be killed at any time. He chose to escape into the spatial rift? Cui Bo's expression was ugly. Could it be that the situation outside has become so bad? He looked up into the sky and saw a terrifying power condensing on the Jushi wheel, constantly compressing. The sky where Nayu and Yunxiao had fought was filled with all kinds of negative energy, flashing constantly. Sheng's face twisted as he glared at the demonic dragon that was charging out of the crack. He roared, "Don't you dare leave." The energy of the Jushi wheel had not yet gathered to the maximum he could recognize, but he could not wait any longer. Yunxiao's life and death were unknown, and he could not allow these murderers to escape. Several rays of light entered the Jushi wheel, and the woman's shadow appeared on it again. She made a gesture with both hands and faced the seal in Yi's hands. They had actually cultivated into one. All living beings, cows and horses, gods, dragons and elephants, Prajna will all die. Yi shouted and pressed down with his incantation. The Jushi will let out a strong roar and a terrifying aura spread out. The power that had been compressed to an infinite extent was released all at once and rushed down like a beam of world-destroying divine light, falling from the 9 heavens. Under this ray of light, everyone in the barrier also felt the chi of death. One by one, they were shocked and stunned by the power. Not good. Everyone, quickly enter my heaven-suppressing pagoda and join forces to resist. Otherwise, only death awaits us. At this moment, Luo Ying was the first to react. Without saying a word, he threw out the heaven-suppressing pagoda, which opened up in the barrier and grew to a height of more than 10 meters. He was the first to rush in. The rest of the people finally sobered up and felt a chill in their hearts. They fought to rush in and Luo Ying shouted, "Everyone, release the power in your bodies and let my pagoda absorb your origin power. Otherwise, I won't be able to withstand it at all. This attack already has the power close to the peak of martial arts." Before Cui Bo rushed in, he took a look at the heavenly armor enamel plate not far away and sent out a stream of chi. The enamel plate was hit by a huge force and bounced up from the ground. It kept spinning and flew into the sky, towards the light. Boom! The godly light landed on the heavenly star glittering jewel plate. The defensive light on the plate didn't even have time to light up before it shattered into pieces. The power of the divine light was blocked for a moment, but the destructive power did not diminish and continued to fall. At this moment, the heaven-suppressing pagoda was already filled with tens of people, all of them were from the inner circle. The moment the pagoda's door closed, those who had yet to enter immediately turned pale, their emotions were like a locked door, sinking into oblivion. Other than the 7 merchant alliances, those who entered the heaven-suppressing tower were at least martial supremes. Under Luo Ying's command, they poured all of their power into the tower. The entire tower burst into a bright light. The power of a 9th-tier profound-level weapon was completely unleashed at this moment. Rays of colorful light spread out, looking extremely gorgeous. Nearly 10,000 people outside the tower were all crying and cursing. No one was in the mood to appreciate the beautiful changes of the tower. People were still rushing toward the tower, hoping to get some protection. Luo Ying's voice suddenly rang out, and he said coldly, "If we work together to defend, we might have a chance of survival. If we wait for death like this, we'll definitely die." His words shook everyone's hearts. Although they knew that the chances of survival outside the tower were low, there was no other way than to join forces and fight. All of a sudden, nearly 10,000 rays of light flashed and rushed into the sky. In the tower, Cui Bo's face was pale as he sighed, "Even if we work together, we will still die. We are all from the Merchant Union. I am already worried that they can't enter the tower. Why should I be used by you?" His tone seemed to be quite dissatisfied. Luo Ying snorted coldly, "Even if we work together to resist the heaven-suppressing pagoda, I don't have any confidence that I can survive. Since they are going to die, why can't they contribute to our survival? At least we can preserve the core strength of the Merchant Union and avenge them in the future." Cui Bo remained silent. He had to admit that this was the most rational way to go about things, but he found it hard to accept emotionally. "These demons, after we escape this calamity, I'll definitely turn them into ashes." Zhang Chong gritted his teeth in anger. Luo Ying said coldly, "Not only that, we must also investigate that Xiang Zi's identity. We must kill him even if we have to go to the ends of the earth." Just as everyone was filled with righteous indignation, the divine light outside fell, and all kinds of screams and wails rang out. The tower also began to shake violently. "Demons, fuck your grandpas. I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. If I don't die, I'll kill all the demonic beasts in the world. I don't want to die. I just married 2 beautiful wives the day before yesterday." All sorts of sounds rang out, but in the blink of an eye, they were completely drowned out. No sound could be heard, and it turned into a dead silence. Only the continuous rumbling of the earth reverberated. The sky was silent. Other than the constant rumbling from the earth, there was no other sound. Under the destructive divine light, not only were cities destroyed, but the earth also cracked and formed ravines. It was extremely terrifying. The few demons stared down with cold eyes without saying a word. Tang Jia and the others were shocked. After the light dissipated, not only did the people in the world's best mall die, but even the city was completely turned into ashes under this blow, turning into a wasteland that no one could live in. If someone had told them a few days ago that Songyuyang City would be destroyed, no one would have believed it. But now, in the blink of an eye, it had become a reality. Xiangzi also retracted the power of the dragon's might, and that spine returned to the Luoho divine spear. The 2 horns on his forehead gradually faded away, and he returned to his human body. "Is he dead? Are they all dead?" Li Yi muttered to himself as he looked down. Bang! The sacrificial plate suddenly cracked. No one knew what material it was made of, but once it was damaged, it turned into heavy crystals and disappeared into the air. Shang patted the armillary sphere and it immediately emitted thousands of rays of light. The light flashed in the sky and stars appeared. "Lord Shang, this armillary sphere Pishio," Li said. Shang's gloomy expression disappeared, and he nodded. "Not bad, the armillary sphere has finally been restored." He waved his hand again, and the armillary sphere that was constantly deducing martial Dao changes in the sky suddenly gathered all the light and whizzed down into his hand. It was as new as new. Li's face showed a lonely bitterness. "We sacrificed the rain and more than 300,000 people. In the end, we exchanged for a new life with the armillary sphere. It was worth it." Fu's face was also filled with desolation and sorrow. "Ge and you passed away one after another. Now, only me, Wing, and Li are left to follow you, sir. There's no banquet that doesn't end, and there's no great demon that can't die forever," Yi said with a moved expression. "That's right, what a person seeks in life is to be a king. As long as I can reach the peak of the world, it's worth it no matter how many people die." Tang Jie's face revealed a ferocious look, and his face flickered with a demonic light. The judge and the 4 martial sovereigns looked solemn and did not say a word. They were also struggling to decide whether they were right or wrong. Li Yi stood quietly at the side, not saying a word. It was impossible to tell what he was thinking, but he was staring at the dead, silent, empty city below. Countless corpses were scattered around, and resentment was surging up, making him feel a little cold. Xiangzi suddenly said, "The matter has been settled, what about your promise?" In order to display the dragon's might that could last for such a long time, I had to use up the last 3 pieces of dragon crystals. You should know how valuable it is. The dragon crystal may be more valuable than the dragon body secret treasure to ordinary martial artists, but to you, the dragon body secret treasure is above all else, the referee said. He took out an item and threw it over without even looking at it. Xiangzi's face revealed a look of excitement as he hurriedly went forward to grab it. When he looked at his hand, his entire body immediately trembled as an invisible might entered his soul. It's the true dragon's claw. Xiangzi laughed out loud without any restraint. He took out a pill and swallowed it. His body's functions recovered rapidly. He revealed a strange smile and said, "Mr. Sheng, I really like that ball-shaped profound level weapon of yours. Can I have a look at it?" Everyone was stunned and their faces darkened. They stared at him coldly. Shang squinted his eyes and said, "Xiangzi, you want to take my armillary sphere? Are you crazy?" The corner of Xiangzi's mouth rose. He smiled and said, "I didn't mean it. But the more I look at your armillary sphere, the more it looks like a saint artifact. I really want to take a gamble." "Oh? You think you can beat us?" Shang raised an eyebrow and said coldly. "Or do you want to rely on your Sai of the true dragon? Without the support of the dragon crystal, how long can you use it? Or do you have more dragon crystals?" "The dragon crystal is gone, but I really want to test the power of the dragon body secret treasure you gave me." Xiangzi smiled. "Xiangzi, are you crazy?" Tang Jie said angrily, "You only have 4 dragon body secret treasures. Do you think you can transform into a true dragon? If you don't seek death, you won't die." It seems that this saying has to be verified again. Xiangzi snorted sarcastically, "You're a shameless person who can even betray his own clan. What face do you have to speak to me? He's just a clown." "You coward. Damn it. Elder Hao, kill him." Tang Jie shouted angrily. The power of the dragon's might just now had made him extremely afraid of Xiangzi, so he did not dare to step forward. Elder Yi frowned, but still followed the order and rushed forward. In his opinion, no matter how strong Xiangzi was, without the support of the dragon's might, it was impossible to defeat him. He sent a palm strike in the air to test Xiangzi's strength. "The lackeys go first. Never mind, I'll show you the power of a dragon body artifact. Every time you collect one, your strength will increase tenfold." Xiangzi's aura changed and he transformed into a dragon once again. The true dragon's claw immediately fused into his body, and one of his arms turned crimson black as he grabbed at the palm shadow in the air. Elder Hao's palm shadow was immediately crushed into pieces. His expression suddenly changed. After the claw, the dragon's might shook down without weakening, causing him to retreat in shock. The dragon scales on Xiangzi's body appeared once again. 2 horns grew on his head, one of his hands turned into a black claw, and the other held the long whip of the dragon's spine. He stood domineeringly in the air and laughed. "Strength. An unparalleled power. Although the 4 dragon body secret treasures can't transform me into a true dragon, it's enough for me to become a half-dragon. Shang, do I have the right to ask you to take a look at the armillary sphere?" Elder Yi was furious. Just as he was about to rush forward, he was stopped by Yi, who said indifferently, "All right, since you want to see it, I'll let you see it properly." He made a simple seal with his right hand and the armillary sphere flew out from his chest. Under the shimmering light, stars appeared and the sky darkened. Xiangzi's hand that was holding the dragon spine whip suddenly tightened, and he was on full alert. Although the profound level weapon's aura did not make him feel uncomfortable, he was facing a legendary saint weapon after all. Its power had only been heard of in legends, so it was impossible for him not to be nervous. Starlight, fall. Sheng pointed. The stars in the sky suddenly exploded with powerful light. One by one, they broke away from their original trajectory and began to fall from the sky, flying towards Xiangzi. Starlight fell like rain. Is this the power of a saint artifact? Please don't disappoint me. The dragon whip in Xiangzi's hand shook and instantly let out a shocking dragon roar. It gradually formed into circles that surrounded him. The dragon-shaped whip continued to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy and a terrifying aura spread out. Heaven demon, shocking dragon whip. He let out a loud cry and lashed out with his dragon whip. The entire night sky was split into countless spaces of various sizes by this whip. The power of the black dragon swept up and swallowed the stars in the sky one by one. Sheng looked on coldly, and a cold smile appeared on his face. He clenched his fist and said softly, "Explode." Xiangzi's pupils suddenly contracted as he looked in shock at the long whip that was already filled with specks of starlight. It suddenly shone as bright as day, and an unparalleled force had directly cut off his dragon chi. Boom! The dragon whip exploded at this moment and shrank rapidly, returning to the appearance of Luoho's spear. Not only did it lose all its spiritual energy, but there were also cracks on it. Xiangzi was so shocked that he sucked in a breath of cold air. Large beads of cold sweat rolled down his forehead. The dragon armor was damaged, and even his power showed a rapid decline. In his shock, he suddenly lifted the spear and turned into a ray of light to escape into the distance, leaving behind only a self-mocking laugh. Mr. Sheng, you're so interesting. I was just joking with you, and you actually took it seriously. I've never seen such a serious person like you. See you again, no need to send me off. Sheng's expression did not change. He pointed in the air and kept the armillary sphere back into his body. The sky returned to its clear state. Elder Tong also had a look of horror on his face. Just now, he had estimated the power of Xiangzi's casual grab. He did not expect that such a powerful whip would be destroyed along with the profound level weapon by the armillary sphere. Chase him. Why don't you kill him? Tang Jia looked in the direction that Xiangzi had escaped in and asked loudly with a stomach full of anger. Sheng looked at him indifferently and ignored him, saying softly, "It's all over. Let's go." Seeing Tang Jia's face gradually turning pale, Li stepped forward and explained, "The armillary sphere has been repaired, but with Lord Sheng's current strength, he is still unable to control it to his heart's content. The attack just now seemed casual, but it was already most of Lord Sheng's strength. Even though Xiangzi lost a treasure, he's not someone we can kill easily." Tang Jia's expression slowly turned for the better. He snorted and said, "So that's how it is. If you want to recover your previous strength, you can't do it without the support of the huge resources of the Four Extremes sect. Right, are you leaving now? Had all those people in the Merchant Union died? Where's Li Yunxiao?" Li Yi's body trembled as well. He did not care about the life and death of the people from the Merchant Union, but the name Li Yunxiao had touched his nerves, and he pricked up his ears to listen. The judge's pupils constricted slightly. Li Yunxiao has entered the spatial rift, so his life and death are in the hands of heaven. But I think he's the man of destiny. I don't think he'll die, will he? He didn't really believe his own words, but he thought so in his heart. As for those people in the Merchant Union, Sheng looked down and chuckled, "There should still be some big rats around, but with our current strength, I'm afraid it'll be difficult to clean them up." What? They didn't die? If Luo Ying and the others are not dead, and the power of the Merchant Union is still there, won't we be in danger? Tang Jia was shocked and cried out. Other than those from the 7 merchant alliances, Sheng said calmly, the rest are all dead. With the 4 extreme sects' power and US, there's nothing to be afraid of. Since your father has chosen to cooperate with us, he must have his own ideas and confidence. You don't have to worry about it. Tang Jia's face sank as he felt the brutal qi in his stomach swell up uncomfortably.